Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you see this. This is Dee with Older INFP Insights. I'll try not to talk so loud. I'm doing several videos today. It's raining. It messed up my nap. I'm waiting for tennis finals to come on. So I'll make a couple of videos that came to mind. What we're going to talk about right now is trust your intuition. INFPs are NFs. And I'm going to speak to all the NFs. I do know that we have other people interested in us, namely the INTPs and the INFJs. I do know that they watch. I know that because I started a meetup group locally, and not everybody's an INFP in the meetup group. We have several INTPs and several INFJs, which is fine, okay. But the NFs are who I'm speaking to today, and I'm going to try to speak to the INFPs, but I think maybe it might be just an NF thing. Keep in mind, these are my own personal opinions, even though I do have a background in psychology, mental health. I don't study the MBTI. I don't have degrees in it. I am not Eric Thor. I am not C.S. Joseph. I am not anybody like that. I am just me, who is an observer of life, observer of people, and an INFP in the world as I see it. So here we go. Trust your intuition. How that has come up, and still we're going to go into another NF story. I'll get through with my INFJ. Maybe I can think of a million other INFJ things to do. But what happened, and I've mentioned earlier in a previous video about INFJ not being able to sell the house or whatever is going on, bought a house at the peak and sold it at the dip kind of thing. But how that applies here to the NF is trust your intuition. I can remember, and I'll tell a story, and I don't mind telling it. Sounds kind of weird. Sounds kind of crass. But remember, I had just turned 22. I was 21 at the time, so I wasn't that wise or whatever, worldly or anything. But I decided to get married. I didn't want to get married. Not that I didn't want to have a relationship. I didn't want to get married. Marriage was an institution. Institutions to me mean organizations. Organizations to INFP are horrible. Institutions to INFPs are horrible. If you don't believe me, just look at the career videos. Just look to see what careers we're in that we enjoy. Don't trap me. I feel trapped. I never wanted to actually get married, but as it so happened, I needed to. And no, I wasn't pregnant, anything like that. Nothing scandalous. It just I needed to for the time. So this was a formal wedding because my mother wouldn't have it any other way. Very traditional. So people in town wouldn't talk about me. So it was a small wedding, but it was formal. I remember the day of the wedding, the morning. I remember standing in my bedroom. I was sick as a dog. I thought I could never go through. So I was literally sick. It was just like I had food poisoning sick. I was sick. And my mother came in the bedroom, and I said, I can't go through with this. I just cannot do this. I don't want to do this. And she was like, it's just nerves, you'll be fine. I said, I'll take responsibility. I'll go put a note on the front of the church door telling people I'm sorry. I'm not showing up. This is a true story. I did not want to go. My mother kept saying it was nerves, I'd be okay. Well, I got through it, and during the whole thing, I remember saying to myself, I can get out of this anytime I want to. I can get out of this. So I was thinking about getting divorced while I was getting married, but It wasn't funny. It's kind of pitiful. But I learned later on, and it didn't work out. I mean, I was married for 13 years, and it didn't work out. We knew it wasn't good. I don't even know why. Neither one of us had a job. We didn't have any money. We were traveling. We did travel. That was the reason we got married, so we could travel together. Different age and time. Um, but that was my intuition talking. My intuition was correct. I should not have done that. Should not have gone through that. I didn't want to. It was not my nerves. So that was kind of drastic, but that did happen. We'll say that another NF story is INFJ. The one I usually use in my videos. I am following it on Zillow and seeing what's happening. It's kind of pitiful in a way. We are not in contact. I would not touch that with all the money in the world and a 10-foot pole. I think she's probably extremely stressful and extremely irritable. But what she did is that she bought a house. She was the one that threw the baby out with the bathwater. She felt like she's starting a new chapter. She needs to have a new house. She needs to have a new this, new that, new. And I was trying to, okay, fine, it sounds exciting. But a couple of days before the closing on the new house, her new house for her, it wasn't a new house. Before the closing on the house, got an email from her, and she's like, she can't get excited about it. She's not happy about, just can't get excited about moving, she said. She just didn't feel right about moving. So there's another NF. Highly intuitive person. And I mentioned to her, I said, well, you have two things here. It's either nerves, and I remember what my mother told me about getting married. That's why I mentioned that, tying it all in here. What my mother said when I got married, it's just my nerves. So I told her, it's just nerves. Change is hard, and it's just nerves. Or you really don't want to. And if you really don't want to, think long and hard and go inside yourself, then you don't have to go to the closing. Nobody's going to make you. You will lose your earnest money, more than likely. But that's the short term. The long term is, do what makes you happy. Well, she went through with it. I contacted her a week later to see how it went, and that's where it was not a pleasant response. Was not going well. A lot of it was just normal things that happened during moves, but the whole thing wasn't going well. So what has ended up happening is she didn't sell her current house first. So what's ended up happening is she bought the house as of this video about 6 weeks ago, under 2 months ago. It was in her area at the peak of the peak. Her house went for sale the following week, because after she moved, she had to have it cleaned, had to have the yard, had to have some things done to the house to fix it up, to get it ready. So it took 1 week to get her house on the market. In the week between her buying her house and putting her present house on the market, the dip started. Of course, she overpriced her house, in my opinion. I think to cover the expenses that she had to put into it, which I tried to tell her you didn't improve the house. You just got it up to where it needs to be. But I think it's overpriced. Now it's gone cold. It's been on the market now this long. It's over a month, like 40 days now. On Zillow, the views are getting smaller. The saves are getting smaller. People are unsaving, evidently. She's got now 10 less saves than she had last week. There's been like 4 or 5 open houses in that 5-week period of time. So, yeah, she's stuck right now with 2 houses. Now, it's not to say this isn't about her and her houses or me and my marriage. I'm talking about intuition. The NFs out there I'm talking to. If in your gut, something's not right, listen to it. Because that is what is right. You don't have to stop what you're doing and not do what you're doing, but I would suggest to take a pause from it. Take a cooling off period and see if that's something that you really could do. And these 2 examples of me and getting married, I mean, that would have been a headache. My mother would have killed me. She was all about not being embarrassed. It's all about her. That's a whole nother story. She's a little bit on the narcissist side. Everything was all about her anyway. No, it's not. I could have just said, let's see if we can come back in a week or 2. I don't know. We'll put it off. We're just going to postpone. That's what I'm going to say. Postpone things. And my friend with the house, she didn't feel right about it. Postpone. If she had postponed just for 1 week, I don't think she'd be stuck. She would have gotten her current house at a better price, and she probably could have sold her house at a lower price, but sold it. So that's just what I want to say. Trust your intuition. We are highly intuitive people, and that's a reason. That's our superpower, is being highly intuitive, whether we are, and I'm speaking to the NFs who are J's or P's, doesn't matter. Whether we're highly intuitive in our surroundings or we're highly intuitive internally, it's going to be one or the other. Listen to it. And if it doesn't feel right, either don't do it or postpone it. And your life will be a whole lot easier. Your course in life will be different, of course. Had I not gotten married, I'd been on a totally different path. Who knows where I'd be. If my friend had not sold her house, had not bought the house, stayed where she is, her path would be a little bit different. But still, we're on our path. And we'll get there. We may take some detours, but we will get there. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and comment below. And hope you're enjoying August. Hope August is good to everybody. And stay cool and stay safe.